Assalamu alaikum. This is Shahana Wahid and today we will discuss the crash cart medications. We have discussed that what is emergency therapy, and emergency therapy is basically an immediate treatment to treat the problem which are basically lead to the failure of the health of a person or death of a person. And there is the high probability of the escalating to cause the immediate danger to one's life, so it needs immediate therapy. For that purpose, the crash cart is used, and crash cart contains the most important section of the crash cart is the availability of the medications. These are some examples of the medications which are usually present in the crash cart, and we will discuss one by one according to the emergencies. First of all, we will discuss the cardiovascular emergencies, and among them we will discuss the cardiac arrest. Cardiac arrest means that heart is stop its functioning and there is no pulse, and it requires immediate basic cardiac life support, BCLS, which requires it should be begun as early as possible after the onset of the cardiac arrest, and until the patient either recovers by the spontaneous circulation or a decision is made to cease the resuscitation efforts. So at the home, the person should be able to perform the resuscitation so that it immediately revive its pulse. It is a life-threatening condition, and for revival of the heart, the one person is required at least two person, and one is for to call the hospital for the ambulance, and another person is required to obtain the drugs and equipments needed to for the advanced cardiac life support. So the patient should be immediately reached to the emergency hospital, and the patients should be assessed quickly by shaking the patient and by yelling his or her name, and usually if there is a cardiac arrest, then it is accompanied by the loss of consciousness, and this unconscious person is unable to protect its own airway, and airway may be blocked by certain types of things like the foreign body or the vomitus of a person. Person who is performing the resuscitation should observe the person's breath, and if there is a noisy breath, it is the indication of the obstructive airway, and if there is absence of breath sound, and it indicates the complete obstruction of the airways. So first act is done to protect and maintain the airway so that कि वो उसकी breathing जो है वो continue रह सके, and then जो है उसको जो है the person should perform the resuscitation like so immediately ventilating the patient with the bag or mask, and mouth to mouth ventilation should also be performed if the bag or mask is unavailable, and circulation feel by the carotid or femoral pulse, and the person should listen the heart sound, and usually brachial pulse is used to monitor the or to hear the heart sounds. Or if there is no palpable pulse, then start the massaging of the heart, and cardiac massage should be performed by on the lower sternum, depressing it about 5 cm in adults and in older children, and the rate should be 80 depression per minute in adults and 100 depression per minute in our children and babies. The ratio is about 1 to 5 in all ages if two people are performing resuscitation. Cardiac arrests are of various types, and among them the most common one is the pulseless ventricular tachycardia, of ventricular fibrillation. Pulseless ventricular tachycardia is basically the condition in which there is inadequate cardiac output and there is continuous ventricular fibrillation, and it is basically a type of arrhythmia, and usually defibrillation is the only treatment that has definitely shown to increase the survival after the cardiac arrest. However, if we talk about the drug, the treatment or the choice of a drug is the adrenaline, and this is the main drug which is used in conjunction with the defibrillator, and several units are used, that like 360 joule or up to 200 joules depending upon the need. The treatment is successful by the establishment of the intravenous oxygen along with the intravenous line along with the oxygen support by the ventilator. The dose of adrenaline is 1 mg IV bolus, that is 1 ml of either 1 in 2000 or 10 ml of the 1 into 10,000 strength. If there is acidosis, it will be treated by the 8.4% sodium bicarbonate, and it is mainly indicated when the arrhythmia is basically due to the hyperkalemia and in which there is severe acidosis. The severe acidosis either may be due to the renal failure or due to any overdoses of the drugs like TCS, and furthermore, the rhythm of the heart may also be controlled by the lignocaine or lidocaine 75 to 100 mg IV. If there is no spontaneous circulation in 20 minutes after the cardiac arrest, then the chance of the recovery is usually 0. And if sinus rhythm is restored, the patient should be given the lidocaine 1 mg per kg. The same treatment is reserved for the children with change in the doses. Your classwork is to take out the indication and to find out the incompatibilities and compatibilities of the lidocaine with other medications, and to take out the reasons why it is incompatible and compatible with certain types of drugs which are mentioned in this presentation. Lidocaine is compatible with different types of solvents like aminophylline and like calcium gluconate. For ventricular tachyarrhythmias, other drugs may be indicated like digoxin, and this digoxin is a problematic drug because it may induce certain toxicity, and this toxicity may respond to phenytoin and magnesium sulfate. And if the defibrillation is necessary, then usually lower strength of the current in joule, that is 25 joule, is used usually. Higher defibrillation energies may induce the ventricular fibrillation. Another type of cardiac arrest is the asystole or severe bradycardia, in which there is no heartbeat at all, and the survival rate of asystole is very much rare as compared to the ventricular fibrillation, and proper understanding of ECG is required because it is essential to differentiate the cardiac arrest either due to the asystole or due to the ventricular fibrillation. And it is treatment strategy is similar, along with the addition of the atropine 3 mg IV bolus. Basically increases the sympathetic drive by blocking the parasympathetic system. This is basically atropine. You know that atropine is the antimuscarinic drug. The doses in children are different as compared to the adult. Another type of cardiac arrest is the pulseless ventricular activity, and basically it is the other type of the cardiac rhythm in which is different from the ventricular fibrillation and asystole without a detectable cardiac output. It is basically due to the severe and irreversible cardiac muscle dysfunction, and it is very difficult to treat. That basically requires to exclude the potential reversible causes like hypoxia, hypovolemia, and hypothermia or hyperthermia or hypokalemia or hyperkalemia and metabolic acidosis. Other types of poisons and drugs and thrombosis which may cause the pulmonary or coronary tension in case of pneumothorax. Depending upon the cause, the treatment strategy is different. If there is hypovolemia, then correction of the volume of the blood is required and usually accompanied by the administration of the Hemosil 10 ml per kg IV bolus. For the severe hyperkalemia or acidosis, we may use the calcium chloride up to the maximum dose of 5 ml IV bolus, and it is repeated in 5 minutes if necessary. For acidosis, usually sodium bicarbonate is used along with the calcium channel blocker that may cause the hypocalcemia. The most important thing is that for the reversal of the beta adrenergic antagonism overdosage, then we usually use glucagon 5 mg IV bolus and along with the adrenaline. Why glucagon? Basically it is a pancreatic hormone. However, it has a effect similar to the beta adrenergic agonist, and it basically activates the sympathetic nervous system and improves the cardiac function. Other supportive needs are usually needed, like rapid sequence intubation, pre-oxygenation, and the patient should be pre-oxygenated with 100% oxygen via bag and masks, and it will increase the arterial oxygen saturation to a maximum possible limit, and it also fills the lungs with oxygen, providing a reservoir during the intubation. And usually sedation is not required. However, to reduce the function of the heart, we may use the sedations, and it usually need very little sedation. Awake patients will need much more sedations. It is best to use the one in by which the patient is familiar, and the most common drugs are the diazepam or midazolam, either bolus or by continuous infusion. If the person is semi-conscious or conscious, then ketamine is also a choice, or midazolam by IV, or with the addition of fentanyl, which is basically an opioid drug receptor blocker for the management of the pain. Ketamine should not be used in the patient who have intracranial pressure, like in case of meningitis or in case of road accident of the head injury. And furthermore, thiopentone is also not be used for the hypotensive and hypovolemic patient, and as it further lowers the blood pressure. For muscle paralysis, suxamethonium is preferable, which is the non-depolarizing drug. However, it has a quick onset of action and quick offset of the action. However, suxamethonium is avoided in case of hyperkalemia when the serum potassium level is more than 6 millimole per liter, or if the person is suffering from the burns, that is the more than 10% of the body surface area had a third degree burn more than 3 days or less than 2 years previously. This management is also supported by the intubation and the maintenance of the sedation and the paralysis. What is next topic is the cardiogenic shock, and it's basically a condition in which the cardiac output is inadequate to maintain the tissue perfusion. And it means the cardiac output is there, however it is characterized by the hypotension and compensatory peripheral vasoconstriction and the signs of the congestive cardiac failure. It should be distinguished from the hypovolemic shock and the distributive shock, which is mainly due to the anaphylaxis or sepsis. The most common cause of the cardiogenic shock is the myocardial infarction, and treatment of the underlying disease is very essential. Usually it is the treatment aims of the treatment is the administration of the inotropic agents, which is basically a temporary measure while the underlying cause is reversed. Initially, normal saline in a bolus should be given to correct the volume of the blood, along with the vital supports of the airway and breathing. Aims of the treatment are the correction of the volume of the blood and optimizing the central venous filling pressure, which is CVP, and the choice of the drug is the dobutamine, and for the adults it is given along with the adrenaline 2 microgram per minute by IV infusion that may increase up to 1 to 2 microgram per minute every 5 minutes for a maximum of 20 microgram per minute, plus if the urine output is reduced to 30 ml per hour. Another type of cardiovascular emergency is the occurrence of the chronic pain syndromes, and this pain is attributable to the obstruction of the coronary artery, and it may lead to the stable angina or unstable angina or myocardial infarction. However, some patients are asymptomatic, and that is, there is no evidence of the myocardial ischemia. Stable angina pectoris is the existing of the pain, and usually that is felt in the central chest, which may radiate to the neck or both arms and occasionally the back of the patient, especially during the exercise. Patient should be on aspirin, and it should require further treatment like aspirin 100 to 150 mg orally daily, and along with the beta blocker like atenolol or propranolol 40 mg to 80 mg orally daily. These drugs can be considered in the uncontrolled angina, that is the isosorbide dinitrate 10 to 40 mg, which is basically a vasodilator, and the frequency is 3 times daily. However, with times nitrate tolerance is developed, so there should be an interval of 8 hours between the night dose and the first dose the next day. Potassium channel blocker can also be included in the management of the pain syndrome, that is the verapamil 3 times a day or nifedipine oral daily 20 to 40 mg, which is SR, which is sustained release. However, the combination of then we have to stop beta blocker like atenolol, propranolol. As the combination of beta blocker along with the verapamil is contraindicated, you have to rule out. You have to take out the reason why the interaction or combination of beta blocker along with the verapamil is contraindicated. So verapamil is cannot be given along with the beta blocker. You have to tell me the reason. So dibitavine and nitrates are usually prescribed for the refractory stable angina, and if pain is persists, then it is recommended that the patient should refer for further cardiac assessment by ECG, etc. Unstable angina is characterized by the angina pain, which is very severe, and quick onset is there, which is basically continuously going to be worse and worse. This is basically due to the stable plaque, which is now become unstable and it become more erythematous in the coronary artery. This is the management of the unstable angina, and it is basically we have the addition of the morphine for the pain, and addition of the nifedipine SR 20 to 40 mg orally twice a day. Usually heparin is required for at least 3 days and maybe longer depending upon the clinical response. Another cardiovascular emergency is the myocardial infarction, which needs the thrombolytic therapy. So for that purpose, urokinase or streptokinase usually used. For the management after the infarct period, it needs the use of the beta blocker or like atenolol or propranolol, along with the ACE inhibitors like enalapril, with aspirin and statins, or if response is poor, then the dose is initially increased, or there is the addition of promethazine along with the hydrocortisone. These are some indications of the thrombolytic therapy, and along with the contraindication. Another cardiovascular emergency are the cardiac arrhythmias, including the tachyarrhythmias, and these tachyarrhythmias are basically the tachycardia that in which there is a heart rate more than 100 beats per minute in a resting condition. However, it is not a life-threatening condition, and usually it seldom requires the treatment. If the treatment is required, then beta blocker, atenolol or propranolol is used. Verapamil can also be used up to the dose of 15 mg. Digoxin can be a choice for the improvement of the cardiac output. However, the maintenance dose of the digoxin should be adjusted depending upon the patient's renal function and the serum potassium level. If the QRS interval is more than 0.12 seconds, then usually verapamil is not administered or avoidable. For the paroxysmal supraventricular tachycardia, the choice of drug is the atenolol and the propranolol. Other types of cardiac arrhythmias are the atrial flutter and fibrillation, and the aim of treatment is to reduce the heart rate less than 100 beats per minute, and usually it requires the digitalization like digoxin, followed by the 0.25 to 0.5 mg every 4 to 6 hours, up to maximum dose of 1.5 to 2 mg in the first 24 hours. Digoxin can be used along with the beta blocker if the ventricular rate is not controlled. Choice of beta blocker is the verapamil 5 mg IV, which may include up to 15 mg. Reversal to sinus rhythm is essential, and for atrial fibrillation, several types of medical therapy is considered, in which the choice of drug is the amiodarone or sotalol is more effective as compared to other drugs. And in chronic arterial fibrillation, therapy is considered along with the addition of the anticoagulant therapy. Warfarin or aspirin can be used as an alternative to each other. There is a more risk of thromboembolism, so we have to use the anticoagulant therapy. It requires the if there is ventricular arrhythmia, then it requires, or there is a premature beats, it requires the treatment, which is a symptomatic relief by use of the beta blocker. For ventricular tachycardia, the choice of drug is the lidocaine, and this lidocaine, if it is not control the tachycardia, then we have to add other drugs like beta blockers like atenolol or propranolol along with the amiodarone as an alternative. So what are the drugs which are mainly used in the cardiovascular emergencies? These are epinephrine, atropine, lidocaine, sodium bicarbonate, glucagon, and 10% calcium chloride. What is ventricular fibrillation? Is basically fibrillation is the uncontrolled twitching of the heart, and it may causes the dizziness, nausea, pain in the chest, and tachycardia. Used in the ventricular fibrillation is the epinephrine, amiodarone, and lidocaine and sodium bicarbonate. If we talk about the epinephrine injection is basically reserved for the allergic reactions or anaphylaxis. This is all about the cardiovascular emergencies. The next is the topic of the other emergencies. Thank you.